then, the government is facing a backlash after the Department of Telecom issued a directive to all mobile phone makers to pre-install the state-owned cybersecurity app, which is called Sanchar Saathi. Now, the government claims the app is essential to curb online frauds. Now, Telecom Minister Scindia had defended the decision today, citing 22,800 crore rupees were lost to cyber frauds just in 2024. But critics have argued that the app could become a tool for snooping and mass surveillance. Now, in its order dated the 28th of November, the Telecom Department had said that the app must be pre-installed. It also ordered phone makers to ensure the functionalities of the app are not disabled or restricted, and it said that the app must be visible and accessible when a new mobile phone is switched on for the first time. Now, companies were also at that time given 90 days to comply with the order and report within 120 days on the progress. Now, Minister Scindia defended the order and cited how opposition parties have been complaining about rising cyber frauds. The minister said that the app can be deleted if the user wants, and the app will lay dormant on the phone if a user chooses not to register. Now, just yesterday, Minister Scindia had defended this decision to make the app mandatory for all citizens. Here is what he said yesterday and today.
So, is this mandatory, and by when do they have to comply, all phone makers in the country?
I believe that this is being issued in the next couple of days, and it will give people time to be able to adopt it.
All right, so it will be mandatory and everybody will have to comply within a certain timeline.
कोई mandatory नहीं है. आप अगर register नहीं करना चाहते हो, मतलब कि उदाहरण के तौर पे इस ऐप का उपयोग नहीं करना चाहते हो, तो register मत करो. वो dormant रहेगा. Delete करना है तो delete कर लो.
Yesterday on night itself, I heard the act. It's an attack on privacy of the common people of this country. So actually, basically, this is an attack on constitution also.
This will be completely in breach of the privacy. आपको साइबर क्राइम को डिटेक्ट करने के लिए आपको पारदर्शिता चाहिए. आप मेरा फोन में घुस के साइबर क्राइम डिटेक्ट नहीं करने सकेगा. मेरा इंफॉर्मेशन डिटेल्स इंफॉर्मेशन देने का कोई अधिकार सरकार का नहीं है. दिस इज टोटली इलीगल. दिस इज टोटली अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल.
Well, smartphone makers are not in favour of the government's directive on Sanchar Saathi app. Industry sources have asked why their feedback was not sought and why the Ministry of Electronics was not even consulted. But the big question that we're asking today is, why has the government made the app mandatory without wider consultation? Rashna Dharmrajani joins us now to take stock of all of the developments. Rashna, for our viewers, what is this Sanchar Saathi app? What has it even achieved so far? And why is this whole thing turning out to be so controversial?
That's right. The Sanchar Saathi app has been active since 2023. Now, it's been an app as well as a website, and it helps you register complaints, cyber frauds, many other things. So let's see so far what has happened. But before that, let's understand that so far the app has been optional. But now the government wants phone makers to pre-install the app on all new devices. It must appear at first switch on. It cannot be deleted at the system level, and phones already in the supply chain will receive it through a software update. So what has this app done so far? According to the government's website, the app has helped disconnect 1.75 crore fraudulent mobile connections. More than 42 lakh stolen phones have been blocked, and 26 lakh devices have been traced, and about 7.5 lakh stolen phones have been recovered and returned. Along with that, 2.5 lakh reports of scams have been lodged on the website. Now, once this app becomes mandatory, here's what it will be able to access. On Android devices, it can read the IMEI number, SIM details, and the basic device information. If a user reports a fraud attempt, it can access call or SMS logs. It also uses the camera and the file access when evidence is uploaded, and may send SMS for verification and for registration. On iPhones, though, permissions are limited to camera and file access. But here's the thing to note. So far, when the app was not mandatory, all this information one had to put it manually. But now the published policy says that the app does not take location, microphone input, contact list, browsing history or biometric data. But any expansion on what data can be accessed in the future would only require a software update. Phone manufacturers have revised practical concerns. The 90-day deadline is difficult because software development, testing and certification cycles take much longer. Apple, known for its global policy framework regarding privacy, plans to convey its concerns to the government, whereas Android's global OS principles also do not align with the idea of a non-removable system app. This brings up a wider question. Is Sanchar Saathi evolving into a digital kavach for users, if that's what the government intends, or is it a push or does it push the country toward a Big Brother style environment? Well, the telecom minister has said that the users can opt out of this app, but this adds complexity because Android's rules do not allow governments or manufacturers to add permanent apps with privileged permissions. A system that forces installation first and offers an opt-out later does not match Android's definition of consent, and it does not meet the global standard definition of informed consent either. On the legal front, the mandate is being viewed through the triple test that was laid out by the Supreme Court. Now, in a landmark verdict in 2017, a 9-judge bench of the Supreme Court made it clear that any invasion of privacy must be done through a legislation. It needs to have a legitimate aim, and the action must be proportional. This decision to make Sanchar Saathi app mandatory is not being done through legislation, but rather an executive action by the telecom department. Stopping cyber fraud is a legitimate aim, so it passes on that one, but it is a mandatory app on all smartphones. The only way to crack down on cyber fraud is action proportional to the issue in question. That is what we'd be looking forward to.
Well, yes, the legality of the move and, whether that is the best way to tackle cyber frauds, that's something that citizens are surely going to be asking. Rashna, thanks very much for taking us through that story. Now, making the